All right, well, let me begin by saying hello and welcome to each and every one of you. Doug here with thelincolnlist.com, and I want to welcome you back to another edition of Stock Market Mutterings. As many of you know, this is where I'll do my best to take a grope in the murkiness, try to make some sense out of the stock market here for you, and I hope it does provide you with some quality trade setups. Before I get started, I have a special announcement. Well, let's say it's special. It is special. What am I talking about? Do you guys know this week is my 10-year anniversary of the Lincoln List? Yes, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've run this service at thelincolnlist.com. It also is my 23rd year as a trader. Unbelievable. You know, I don't know whether sometimes I feel like it seems like it was just yesterday when I started this in September of 2010. Other times it feels like it's been 150 years, like this has been one long evolution journey, but that's what life is all about. So what I decided to do was something special for everyone, to just kind of give something back to the trading community, just show my appreciation for the support from each and every one of you. So I decided to have a free open house, no credit card required, to all of my services at the Lincoln List, which includes my day trading room, my live day trading room, and also my swing trading, part-time swing trading program. So somewhere on this screen, I'm going to post the link. Just if you're interested, you just send me an email to support at the Lincoln List. Just hit trial there and I'll get you guys all set up. So it's for complete 2 weeks, no credit card needed. Just send me your name and I hope I can share something with you. I can give you some knowledge. You can find yourself a great community, or I can teach you something that will make you guys some money. But just kind of my 10-year gift back to everybody, and just showing my appreciation for being fortunate enough to do what it is I do for a living and share what I have and share my passion. That's what I want to do. So take advantage of it. Anyway, I got a lot to talk about because, as most of you know, the correction we were all thinking about, some of us hoping about, actually happened on Thursday. And one of the things I want to touch on here is just a brief piece of education for all you new traders out there, and some of you that are just struggling with long-term consistency. This is sort of the biggest obstacle for traders and investors, is taking these massive one-day sell-offs, because I've been doing this now for over 2 decades, and every single correction, whether it's a short term, a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, something much deeper and profound, they all start the same way. It just seems like everything's rolling along. It's super bullish. Everybody's happy. Money's a-flowing. Trading is easy. And all of a sudden, wow, there it is. Just 1 day, whack. And I believe that many of you experienced that. Your P&L looked really good on Wednesday. And then, midday Thursday, you're like, holy crap, what happened? Oh, man. And it's always that way. And the lesson in this is it's never going to change. There's always going to be these massive hits. If you're a long-term investor, none of this matters to you. But if you're a trader and you're trying to do your best to time the markets, you're a momentum trader, you're doing this for a living, you're trying to reduce the damage, you've always got to look at these. And the thing about them is they always seem to come by when no one's expecting it. It just feels like, hey, you're going into a holiday weekend. The market is super bullish. It's just going to float right in there on low volume. Maybe after the holiday we see something, but no, you never know when they're going to sneak up on you. And they're so abrupt and they're so aggressive that they do a lot of damage. Now, the psychological impact of this is many of you may have been in an experience where you gave back a week, a month, or maybe even longer worth of gains, and you can't do that. So the lesson in this is you always have to take profits along the way. It's sort of much better for you to, sell too early in a situation like this than stick around too long and get stuck in musical chairs, right? You don't want to do that, because something like this could turn out to be maybe just a 1-2 day event, which we'll talk about. Or maybe it's something that's longer. Maybe this is the beginning of something that's much deeper as we approach the election. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But, the quick lesson in this, guys, it's always going to work this way. This is the stock market. Even when volatility seems at its lowest, things seem to be at their best, that's always when this stuff happens. It comes sneaking out of nowhere, it seems like, and then a lot of people get caught and they lose a lot of money this way. And that's kind of what you learn as you're trading and you're trying to do it. It's not so much about your wins, right? It's about how much you don't lose. You can't afford to give back weeks and months. So remember, sell on the way up. Always take yourself profits. Always pay yourself on the way up, because you never know when you're going to wake up and this stuff is going to change. Look at just what happened Thursday. That's just, the market gave back like 8 or 9 days of a rally Thursday morning. Just before lunch. So you're talking about 8 days worth of bullish melt up trading just dusted off in a half a day. And then that continued on Friday before we got a bounce. So let's talk about that bounce. Well, you got 2 days there. We got this bounce. And I guess the thing that's going to be on everyone's mind here, or should be on everyone's mind, is this the start of something deeper? Or is this just one of those 2-day things we're just going to brush off here and make our way back to highs? There was a pretty good, strong, solid bounce here on the SPY. I'll start out with that one. Just kind of nosedive. And normally that's to be expected when you have 2 days, a day and a half of just straight just not meltdown, just panic selling into the lows. You got a really nice bounce. And this closed right here roughly at the 20-day moving average, just slightly snuck its way back up above there, hitting the support back here from the 20th of August. So I would pay attention to this going forward. There's probably going to be an induced amount of volatility through the first couple of days of trading this week as people enter back into Tuesday after a holiday, kind of unsure, is this thing going to stick? What's going to happen? What positions should we have? What should we cut? What should we keep? But I think if you hold that up early, that low, then that's probably going to mark the low here for the shorter term, and you'll start to see this thing at least attempt to try to make it back up to the all-time highs. And bullish markets, especially strong ones like this, are relentless too in their nature, is that, there's always going to be this snapback rally, and we'll learn more about the depth of that when it does snap back, what that means and how that works. But I would pay attention to that real closely. If by any chance, everything that you're looking at, pay attention to the lows from Friday. If this thing cleans out the lows from Friday, you've got an awful lot of room down here. So we were looking at basically 6, I think, at the I'm talking about the depths here. We had like 6% on the SPY. It was down from the highs, and roughly 10% on the NASDAQ. So those are pretty deep corrections right there. The market always has a couple of those every year. So that's kind of normal in a bull market scenario, even though it was aggressive and abrupt. But that was pretty deep. I don't think we're going to see something that goes much past a 10 on the SPY or a 15 on the NASDAQ. But hey, if it does go underneath those. So basically what I'm saying, guys, is if you're sitting here, you're wanting to know if this continues. If you lose Friday's lows, there could be a significant amount of problems there, or another aggressive round, because imagine there's tons of stops down there, and it could easily just blow through that and start sniffing out other levels that are all the way down here for the SPY, like in the 320s or something like that. I don't see that happening early on in the week, but be aware of that. If we do hold there and we start moving above Friday's highs, then maybe this is just another buying opportunity. So really pay attention to everything that you're looking at. Look at Friday. If you take out Friday's lows, it could spell trouble, especially in a situation like this where the market's pulled off of all-time highs, and then people are panicky or wondering if this is the top. You're going to get some emotions in there, and you might see some bigger selling. If you close above that, you move above that, then it's probably nothing. And remember, the kind of thing is the markets never crash from all-time highs. They usually have this little move. If you look back at any of the corrections, I've talked about this before in a dozen videos, they always have this first little move that's aggressive. Then the market kind of chills out and tries to bounce again. And it's always that second or that third rotation lower that really does the hefty damage. Look back at the coronavirus correction. It was the same way. There was a little warning sign there earlier. The December of 2018 correction was that way. And maybe that's something. We're going to find out. My crystal ball doesn't work either, so I don't know. We're just going to have to play it day by day. Now, let's talk about a couple of stocks, as this may have opened the door to re-enter some of these stocks. And let's just face it, some of this crap was stupid overbought. I mean, you're talking about stocks that were coronaviruses. I was thinking of stuff like Wayfair. I don't have the chart up here, but Wayfair was like $20 freaking in March or April or something like that at the coronavirus thing. It was like 300 plus. I mean, you look at these things like Lulu, Apple, Tesla, right? Wayfair, Overstock. I mean, some of these stocks had made just 100% moves. So, that crap ain't going to last forever. Every market needs to be corrected, but maybe this is an opportunity for us to gain another entry here. The first I want to look at is TTD. This thing got smoked for like 40, 50 bucks, something nasty. But it bounced really nice off of the support. And this was really solid support. It was from, July, August area right here. Just a really solid amount of support. Held that really tight. I'm going to look for this to just kind of settle in. My plan going into Tuesday is to just let things kind of work themselves out first 10, 15, 20 minutes of the day and get a little bit better feel, let some of the emotions get pulled out of the market and then start making some decisions here. But if this does solidify itself technically as a bottom, this is the one I want to look for, because anything that would bounce here, you'd have to think that the next available target would in fact be all-time highs, back to where we were just a couple of days ago. So this is a stock that's sitting here trading at the 444s. We're talking 515. I mean, you have a chance to maybe pick 50, 60 a share up on this. That's what I'm talking about, right? You guys want your 50, 60 a share, don't you? Let's watch TTD. Yeah, TTD. Again, not just like the markets. Pay attention to the lows from Friday. Pay attention to the highs. If you start moving above the highs here early on, let me open up the chart here. Intraday 5 minute. You start moving above this area right here, the 440s. I think it's 448. Yeah, 448. We start moving up in here. You're probably going to end up trading back into some of these areas here. I like that one. I also like WDAy. WDAy is another one here that just went ignorant parabolic. Just got, I think this one was just hella out of control. I mean, look at this gap, and this thing just runs from like 191 to 248 in a couple of days. I mean, this is just sick. Now it's just rolling back into the gap, and you're hanging out down here towards these moving averages. I guess in an ideal scenario, you'd like to see maybe one more test of those lows. That would make me feel better as far as aggression and risk that I'd be willing to take. Is if in fact these stocks, these market instruments, traded immediately down into those lows, got really close to them and held. Really kind of just confirming that that's going to be a short-term low. And you saw that volume flush in right down towards Friday's lows, and everything started picking back up again. I'd be willing to take a much deeper risk. That would be like plan A, best case scenario. But this market's going to be choppy and volatile, at least early on. So watch this one, trading it from here back to 248. And I guess, you could put all these names back on the list, like Baba. You got Baba coming down there, almost the same look as WDAy, into those moving averages, into the breakout area, and bouncing solidly off of support. You have things like Team here, which also looks very good. Team down really close to these support levels. So some of these charts look like, not like Team right here doesn't look too much different than it did just about a month or so ago right here, where it just dove from the highs, hits support. Look at this, hits these support areas right here, and then launches right back up, does it again. Maybe this, another move where this thing just runs right back up and it finally cracks 200. So this is going to be my top looks. I really, really like TTD. I'm interested in that one. Always have Bubba on watch. I have Team, but I think you look back at any one of these, the AMDs and stuff like that, these big movers, I think people will still be interested in tech. I think these are good stocks like this AMD again, right down into support. Look at that, holding that support. I mean, you legitimately could take some of these right now and use stops at the low if you're building positions or you're looking to hold these for a few days. I like those. So kind of like quickly, guys, in a recap first, my sincerest thanks for every one of you. Every one of you guys out there who supported me, who I've met along the way. Some of you have been in my room. Some of you traded with me. I've met some great people. 10 years, man. 10 years, a decade of doing the service business. I'm thankful. That's all I can say. Kind of speechless, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful I've just been lucky enough to do this for a living. Lucky enough to trade for a living. Lucky enough to enjoy this. I'm a lucky guy, man. I am a lucky guy. So love to trade with you guys for a couple weeks. Make sure you visit me at the Lincoln List. Pay close attention to anything Friday's lows. If we hold Friday's lows, it's probably going to be a great bounce opportunity. It's going to be a good risk to reward scenario for all of us. If we start losing that, then we're going to have to look for some better landing zones, or maybe we look for something like a 10, 15% correction. Who knows? So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support over this last decade. I really appreciate it. Hope I'm able to stick around for another decade. Until the next time, thanks for watching Stock Market Mutterings. Take care and trade well.